in store for all of us. Of course, the CTEL, the Inter-American Telecoms Commission, again, CTU participates in the CTEL process, and there will be 2 CTEL meetings coming up, August and September, and we'll be hearing from Maria Celeste Wenware. And of course, the 20th edition of the Caribbean Internet Governance Forum. We boast that the CIGF is the oldest IGF in the world, and this one will be special because we'll be celebrating 20 years and looking at the progress that we have made since 2005. Another strategic partner, the American Registry for Internet Numbers, will be telling us about the CTU Arian Lacnic Policy Forum happening in Guyana within the CIGF. And I believe from time to time we focus on different issues. I believe the last one was on the issue of cybersecurity. CARIBNOG will be here to tell us about CARIBNOG 28 happening in Curacao, the huge UN Summit of the Future, where the Global Digital Compact will be tabled. And the CTU has been participating there as well, and we will be represented. Our biggest ICT event for the year, ICT Week, will be happening in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I'll tell you about that a little later on. And we have
recording in progress.
Sorry about that. 1 second. Global Industry Watch focusing on AI. And lastly, Grenada just introduced an electronic communications bill. And we think this is very important for us to be aware of what are some of the key provisions in that bill. And that will not, yes. Sorry, that will not be happening, folks. But at some point, we will update you on the provisions of that bill. So in the interest of time, I want to welcome all of you who joined us. I understand 106 have signed up. Hopefully they'll join us from time to time based on their interests. But we will, as you can see, there's a lot in store. And we'll be working to ensure that you are kept up to date with what's happening globally and regionally that is of significance. So we'll hand straight over to Sophie Maddens, who's the Chief of the Digital Knowledge Department within the ITU, to tell us about the GSR happening in Uganda. Over to you, Sophie. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Rodney, and hello, everybody. So delighted to be here with you today. And I really do hope to see many of you at GSR in Uganda. So GSR 24 is organized by the ITU in collaboration with the government in Uganda, and obviously we're working hand in hand with UCC on the GSR 24. I can really promise you that it will be an exciting GSR. It's grown to be a key event in the ICT telecoms industry, and we're expecting 700 or so people from the regulatory community. Since last year, as you saw last year, you were there, Nigel, we do have policymakers, regulators, and of course, the uniqueness of ITU. We have ITUD sector members, which is the private sector, academia. We're also bringing international and regional organizations, as well as experts in the field, and the first African humanoid robot will be there at GSR. So I really do hope that you will be able to join us, because GSR does raise the awareness and improves the knowledge and understanding of the core policy and regulatory issues relating to maximizing the potential of digital for better lives. And if you can go to the next slide, please. Part of GSR outcomes is also the best practice guidelines. So really, if you cannot join GSR physically, make sure you do respond to our consultation, because these guidelines, these best practice guidelines, have really formed the basis of the golden standard of digital regulation. And Judith, I see as well, the slides are not moving, so I'd really want to ask the room to help me share the slides and move the slides forward. So this year, we're doing the best practice guidelines on transformative technologies. So it really is important, especially as we came out of 1 week of AI for good. So that is GSR. Our agenda, it's obviously is chaired by the chairman of the Uganda Communications Commission. And don't worry, all of the participants, if we can't manage to move the slides here, what we'll do is we'll share the slides with you. I'll share them with Rodney and Nigel, and you can have a look at your own ease after this particular presentation. So we have the executive director of UCC that will be chairing the GSR, as is normal practice. It's the DG, or the executive director of the host country. And as is usual practice as well, it's interactive. We don't have PowerPoints, we don't have long sessions, but we really want to foster that interactive dialogue on these cutting edge policy and regulatory issues. And what we've introduced since last year with the new director, Cosmo Savazava, is that we bring policymakers to the table as well to exchange with you regulators to see how can we make sure that we have that collaboration, that dialogue, that discussion between the different stakeholders. Which means our topics this year are maximizing digital opportunities, the space economy, obviously connecting everyone, everywhere, and everything all at once. We'll be talking about the digital transformation. We'll be talking about artificial intelligence. And as I mentioned to you, we'll be bringing a humanoid robot to GSR, as well as young innovators to show how robotics can really have a positive impact. Interesting and important as well, and we brought that in the Bahamas as well, is digital financial services. There again, we'll be looking at what does it take to make it safe and secure. Some of the innovative regulatory approaches. I know that our colleague Carlos Lugo is working on regulatory sandboxes. So we're looking at regulatory sandboxing for innovation. And of course, something close to your heart as well is harnessing digital for climate action. That's not the only thing. We also have social events which will take place. GSR is not just a place for for knowledge exchange, but it's also a place for networking. So we have that all geared up to have the networking. We have the network of women. We have the lunches, the coffee breaks, and of course, the various dinners. So you're seeing here the agenda. On the 1st of July, the 1st of July is mainly focused on the regulatory community. So we have our regulatory associations meeting, and obviously CTU, you're welcome there. It's the regulatory associations meeting where we'll be discussing the digital regulation network initiative. We'll be also looking at some of the projects we're working on, including the broadband mapping project we're working on, and how we can better integrate the regulatory associations in that work. Right now, it's focused on Africa with funding from the European Commission, but nothing says that it won't go to other regions. We'll also have the Industry Advisory Group on Development Issues and Private Sector Chief Regulatory Officers meeting that will take place in the morning of the 2nd of July so as to allow regulators to be there as observers, first come, first serve, because seats are limited, but to be there as observers. And if you only want to come on the 2nd, please do come on the 1st, because we have an opening, welcoming cocktail reception on the 1st of July, and of course, our exhibition. We have the Network of Women in ICT, the GSR course sessions, and the thematic side events dialogues, which is on space, AI, and of course, the digital infrastructure mapping. You see the agenda before you, so please do. And Kim, I can see that you are attending GSR, so we need to touch base. I can see your chat there. So let's touch base on how best you can contribute to GSR. The agenda, you can look at it, you can have a look at it, and please do reach out to us if you are attending. We do give priority to panels, to physical presence, but they're based on a webcast in remote. We've had a record amount of contributions to our consultation. It'll be published within the next few days, the first draft, and it's charted in the course of transformative technologies for positive impact. So the next slide is why and how to get involved. really it is to share and promote solutions for digital transformation. If you can really participate to GSR, bring your young innovators there. We'll find a place for them to speak, to show their solutions. Obviously, GSR is part of the BDT, of our work to be part of the development agenda. And GSR, as we say to many, many of you and to even the private sector, it's a way actually of saving money because it brings all the regulatory community together and it allows you to network, exchange, and have conversations with the regulatory community all in 4 days, one place. You may recall, next slide, please, that last year the director launched the Digital Regulation Network Initiative. Rodney, I'm looking at you. It's something that we're really looking to empower the regulatory associations and organizations based on three pillars. Next slide, please, or two slides up. The three pillars are thought leadership, capacity. Next slide, please. Thought leadership, capacity development, and regulatory experimentation and innovation. Thought leadership, we've tried to bring in more of the regulatory associations in the GSR consultation. The capacity development, you may have seen that on the ITU Academy, we had a series of capacity development that ran throughout this year, in which you have been invited. Please do participate. Keep your eye open because we will continue that. And then the regulatory experimentation and innovation. We've got some really cool, good products there. Talking about regulatory sandboxing. Talk to our colleague Carlos in the region because he has some really good work there. Next slide, please. We've built this community. Our DRN Community Network, the ITU events and resources, and of course the capacity building. And that's where, please be a part of that. We welcome you with all of our heart, with everything. So we really do look to support you, guide you, and work with you. So last but not least, where is it taking place? It's taking place in Uganda. I know it's far from you, but think of it this way. You can have one trip, many, many stakeholders of relevance for you. So please do join us in Munyonyo. It's not complicated. You won't have to deal with the traffic in Kampala. It's a really, really wonderful resort on the banks of the Victoria Lake, Lake Victoria. Speak is actually the one who discovered the Nile. So you will have networking opportunities, but also opportunities to discover the Pearl of Africa. And very, very last, if you look at our digital regulation products and services, these are available for you. We do it for our members. If there is anything in particular you need, let us know because we're there to help you. Back to you, Rodney and Nigel.
Thank you very much, Sophie, for that very comprehensive presentation. I don't see any questions, but I do have a comment from Kim indicating that the ITUD Now interactive session at GSR 24 Regulation for Impact, a Gender and Leadership Perspective will be happening on Wednesday, July 3rd. So thanks for letting us know that, Kim. Any questions? Anyone else on the call? Please feel free to drop your questions, but we do need to keep moving in the interest of time. Thank you so much, Sophie. We will move then to Jimmy Rodriguez of Canto to tell us about Canto 2024 happening 7th to the 11th of July in Miami, Florida. Jimmy, thanks for joining us. Over to you.
Thank you, to fellow panelists and attendees. Good to have you here today and here to share about our event Canto, annual event Canto 2024. So we are 39th edition of it. We're actually in our 40th year. So we actually missed 1 year, and that's because of good old COVID in 2020. But we're happy to be able to collaborate again in person. So this event is from the 7th to the 10th of July. Will be held at the JW Marriott Turnberry Resort and Spa. Same location as we were in last year for those of you who did attend. Great location and a really great event. Our agenda, sorry, our theme for this year is towards a sustainable digital economy. So let me go to my next slide, which is moving. Yeah, so a little bit about Canto. I mentioned how long we've been in existence. We're an association primarily of telecom operators in the Caribbean region. We formed back in 1984 to present a bigger force with the international suppliers and agencies. And through the years, it has evolved and it's really a great community. We have suppliers on board as in our membership. We have consultants, we have legal persons, different groups of people with an interest in the Caribbean, ICT, taking part and being part of it and growing with us as we continue to collaborate. We are led by a board of directors elected from the membership, and the director, Secretary General, Mrs. Wankin, Teresa Wankin. Apologies for not being here today and her regards to you all. And the board directs us, the Secretariat, as well in shaping the organization and directing the activities of Canto. Our membership is a mix, as I mentioned, 60% in telecom suppliers, 34% mobile operators, and we have 6% in the total of regulators. And you could see coming mostly from the Caribbean region. And we collaborate a lot, as you see there. It includes CITEL, CTU, ITU, ICANN, GSMA, ISOC, the Internet Society, and Cineva, for example. So coming into the event itself, just a few points as to why I think you should attend. You get great insights and content from Canto. All the discussions, the panels, the keynotes and so forth, they're all targeted to share with the attendees what is happening in the region, what are the hot topics that are taking place at the time. It's also very educational. A lot of it you can take away and transform how you operate back at your organization. So that's one of the key reasons. The second, some people might think this is the most important, networking. Networking is pretty vibrant. At Canto, you can shake hands and rub shoulders with people at different levels, at different organizations. We have ministers, we have the CEOs, we have exhibitors, we have leaders, of different areas in this industry. And you're able to approach them, you're able to collaborate with them, you're able to become friends with them. Some of you can relate. Our third reason, the exhibition. Our exhibition has been growing in recent years, and it's a great place, one, if you're an exhibitor, to come and display what your company is about, what products you have, what services you have, and you could set up a shop on our floor, and everyone will come by and hear what you have. And on the other side of that divide, you as an attendee could go and learn a lot about what exists internationally and locally and regionally in terms of what provisions exist that perhaps you can take into your organization as well. And of course, we work really hard, but we play hard. We provide entertainment. Depending on where we are, you get some relevant entertainment to the country. And I'll leave that for you as something that you'll want to come and enjoy at Canto 2024. Looking back at last year, just to give you a sample, we had over 600 attendees from 50 plus companies at Canto, 100 plus C-level attendees, and over 40 regional operators. So a variety of leaders being there. Our gender breakdown shows, we had 89 speakers, we had 65 sessions. So just to point out the dates, from the 7th to the 10th, that's a Sunday to a Wednesday. We would open on Sunday evening, and we would have our main sessions from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So within those sessions, we also had 8 panel discussions. And overall, we had 56 sponsors and exhibitors supporting us and attending. So Canto is attended by persons from around the world, mostly from the Caribbean area. So we had 48% actually from the Caribbean, but being in Miami last year and North America being closest to us, South America. So those are the next two in terms of attendance. And you could see Europe, parts of the Pacific and the Middle East also showing up. So, we are Caribbean focused, but we have a global perspective, and we want that to continue to be shown at our event. Governments also attend significantly in previous occurrences. We've had Prime Minister of Guyana, Honorable Brigadier Mark Phillips. We've had the Prime Minister of Bahamas, the Honorable Philip Davis as well. At our most recent event, our Cancer Connect in January, the Honorable Paula Gopi Schoon presented at our opening. And we also have, a number of ministers that regularly attend and new ones that also come and show an interest, including Mr. Honorable Charles Cooper from Curacao. This is just a glance at some of our sponsors. You can see we get support from our operators and from suppliers and key stakeholders. Our exhibitors as well, a variety of products. It could be physical items, it could be software, it could be services, and it could be someone who just wanted to share what their organization is doing, what you can learn from them on that floor. So also a glance at our past speakers, international speakers, leaders of organizations, heads of international agencies, CEOs from our operators, and key persons who are leaders in their field also will be there again. So in summarizing, coming to an end here, join us. I implore you to join us at Canto. It's a place you need to be. I'll drop the registration link in the chat for everyone to have that opportunity to go to the site and see what we're about. Even further, we're about 34 days away from our start. So hope to see you there. If you want further information, you can contact us. Our numbers, email addresses, and so forth are here. Individual queries, you can reach out to Nicole for sponsor and exhibitor issues, Andrea for speaker inquiries, and Janelle if you have any issues with your registration. And overall, we are thankful for this opportunity to share. I know the time is short, but we definitely hope to see you there. So thanks very much, CTU team, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Jimmy. No questions, but in the chat. But what are some of the major topics? I know we've discussed in the past fair share and so on. I imagine that will be back on the agenda. But any other notable topics?
Yes. Well, give me a second. Just want to glance at my internal agenda to give you a really good answer to that. So we regularly have the GSME. They'll actually be doing a session on this Sunday just before we start the day. In addition, well, AI is one of those hot topics that I've been cooking for a few years, but in my opinion, it's really taking off in recent time. So AI will be addressed. There'll be some fireside chats on digital sustainability, which is key, which is something that we want to make sure that once we start, we can sustain what we have in the region. And I think a topic that always needs to be chatted about is cybersecurity, also investment opportunities and challenges. So these are a few of the things. Also, innovation will be focused on one of the days, and of course, empowering all our members and users to collaborate and to help this region to grow. I think that's what I have as of now. The agenda still is evolving a little, but those will be our main topics.
Okay, thank you very much, Jimmy. No other questions in the chat, so we'll move on in the interest of time. Thanks again, and we hope to be there to join you in Miami, Florida. So we'll move now to Dr. Curtis Charles. Are you online, Dr. Charles? Yes, I see you. And of course, we were together last week in Antigua and Barbuda speaking on this topic. So we now invite you to tell us more about the upcoming Artificial Intelligence Conference.
Thank you. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, I hope it's open to the right screen. First of all, thank you so much, SJ Taylor. Thank you so much for your colleagues for inviting me, and thank you for inviting me for your session at SID, and thank you all for coming to my session as well. I'm Dr. Curtis Charles. I'm the Dean of Academic Affairs at Five Island campus. We are the smallest campus for the University of the West Indies. We are the 5th campus and the 4th landed campus. One of the things we wanted to do when we formed our School of Science, Computing and Artificial Intelligence, which is the only such school in the region, is to host transformation of the Caribbean in an age of generative AI and the 5th industrial revolution. So on July 8th to the 10th, we will host the conference in Antigua. And once I make sure, are you seeing my second screen? I'm sorry. It should say conference objectives. Okay, right. Thank you so much. So one of the things we wanted to do was to make sure that we articulate what are some of the conference objectives. And if you look at the conference objectives, we want to make sure that we foster collaboration. We have the opportunity to talk about strategies for AI in the Caribbean. This is, if you're following AI in the Caribbean, this is the first AI conference in the Caribbean that's also focusing on research, so it's a research element as well. We wanted to make sure that we strengthen the Caribbean capacity as it relates to artificial intelligence, but we also wanted to make sure when we look at the Caribbean, we wanted to see what some of the advantages to the Caribbean. So some of the advantages to the Caribbean is to accelerate the development and adoption of AI across all sectors, to enable inclusive and ethical approaches that we will cover in the conference, to enhance regional competitiveness and opportunities, and progress towards a regional goal and priorities through AI. One of the things we wanted to do is to say, okay, well, what's the benefit for the University of the West Indies? You know, if you go and do a Google right now for the University of the West Indies, you're not going to see AI, you're not going to see these technologies. So what we're looking at here is how do we establish leadership in AI research and innovation for the Caribbean? How do we showcase excellent technology? We have accepted 80 academic papers, and we have had confirmed 80 international AI speakers that's going to be here from the 8th to the 10th. So how do we attract, how do we attract top students in technology and form a new research collaboration with partnerships in the industry? And then we're in Antigua and Barbuda, so where the SID conference was held, I thought it was very successful. The government did a great job. But when we think about future casting AI for Antigua and Barbuda, what are some of the goals for Antigua and Barbuda? Some of the goals is this, with the establishment of the SID4 Center of Excellence and the Data Hub, we think that we are well positioned to promote Antigua and Barbuda as an AI engine of innovation in the region, to contribute to a thriving AI ecosystem and knowledge economy, and to inspire new entrepreneurship ventures emerging from Caribbean universities. One of the things you would see in the difference between sort of like the Caribbean and China, for example, is China is just producing more and more students coming out to school. We want to be able to see that from our universities. Don't just come out and work for someone, but develop new technologies that could be commercialized. So the conference starts on July the 8th, and these are the focus on the 8th. The 8th is really a pre-conference where we're trying to demystify AI. So one of the things we do is that we work very closely to the Department of Education. So we thought it was important that if we want students that's capable coming to our university, then we need to pump the pipeline. So we have 150 teachers that we're doing free of charge, generative and deep dive into AI, how AI can be used in your classroom as a force multiplier for teaching and learning. We are working with NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is going to be doing a hackathon, a data science hackathon for universities and high schools. We're going to have the academic papers. So if you're interested in the 80 academic papers, those will be done on, or 70 here, those will be done on the 8th as well. We have 4 keynote speakers. If you look at this photograph, you would see that there are a couple of 2 faces to the left and the right. Dr. Danielle Belgrave is from Trinidad, and she's the Vice President of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning at GlaxoSmithKline. Dr. Nicholas Fuller is the Vice President for AI and Automation at IBM Research. The idea of this conference was very simple. How could we identify Caribbean leaders in tech from across the world and bring them here in Antigua for 2 or 3 days and really reimagine the digital transformation of the Caribbean in an age of AI and the 5th Industrial Revolution? We also have the Vice Provost from Harvard, and we also have Chris Jones from MIT, who is also a politician in the US. When you look at it, is for somebody who spent most of my life in the US, or all of my adult life in the US, this is not a photograph you see when you have assist the Caribbean in developing this digital infrastructure so that we could move to excellence. Then, as you would know, that by 2050, the world has to produce 70% more food in order to feed its population. You can't do that in traditional ways. You have to use artificial intelligence. You have to use Internet of Things. You have to use machine learning. You have to use 5th Industrial Revolution technology. So here we're talking about how do we reimagine human ingenuity in small island development states agriculture industry in an era of AI. Then one of the things that's really important about this conference is that we just went through COVID. But when we think about COVID and we think about how we could have saved more lives if we had interoperability and if we had an AI system that allowed different systems to talk to each other, we could have saved more lives. So there's going to be a panel that's going to be talking about how AI could be used in preparedness for pandemics and epidemics. And then one of the things we learned during COVID as well, that we were at the mercy of the large countries for drugs, right? So one of the things that we have done in our university, we have developed one of the first generative pharmacy program, which is using artificial intelligence and machine learning to create new drugs and new types of patient care. You're going to hear folks talking about generative AI. Then we're going to talk about non-communicable diseases. As we know, more people die from non-communicable diseases than the pandemic, whether it's high blood pressure, whether it's diabetes. You're going to be introduced to a very young Jamaican OBGYN who is determined to make sure that she annihilates cervical cancer among women. So we are working with her in terms of patient care. And here you're looking at a journey map that we normally use in business. This journey map that looks at all the points at which we collect data. As those points come down into the cervical cancer prevention data hotspots repository, we then could run algorithms on those. And as we run algorithms on those, we could see these time series charts. For example, when you look at this time series, the blue line represents the amount of invitations that were sent out to women. The red line represents the number of individuals who responded. And then the green line represents positive. So if you look at the relationship between the red line and the green line, you could see that those who responded, we had the ability to detect more positives than those who didn't respond, those who got the invitation and didn't respond. So these are the types of analytics you're going to see using AI at the conference. And then we're going to be talking about empowering sustainable development goals. And one of the things I wanted to mention about that is that every panel of this conference is aligned to one or two or three sustainable development goals. We can't do anything about our cities. I live in Antigua right now, and I have to tell you, you were here, some of you all who were here for the conference, if you left around the conference, it's a cluttered city. Most of our Caribbean cities are cluttered. So how could we use artificial intelligence and 5th Industrial Revolution to develop new smart cities, not necessarily of the future, but new smart cities? And we didn't want to talk about climate change until we talked about the impact of climate change. And very seldom you hear about the impact of climate change on healthcare and disaster management. So you're going to have a team that's talking about when you have these changes in climate change, whether it's increase in weather, what is the impact on the healthcare system? And what's the strain of that in healthcare system? And how does that impact disaster management as well? One of the things we're going to talk about in terms of climate change is we're going to talk about forecast-based financing. How does the government know how much money to put aside next year for a level 5 hurricane? So forecast-based financing allows us to use some of these variables, whether it's government revenue, government expenditure, disaster, foreign aid, for us to calculate what is the average post-disaster liquidity. So here we calculate what's the post-liquidity of a level 5 hurricane hitting Antigua. Antigua is going to be in the hole by $79 million. So we're going to show how we could use, again, AI and different forecasting to do that. And of course, we can't do anything without reimagining our education system. You know, as well as I, CXC is an average of 40% passed in math. We can't move forward in artificial intelligence, so in STEM fields, unless we do that, unless we improve that. And we can't continue doing the same thing over and over and over and having the same results. We got to begin to reimagine. So here we're going to have some folks from UNESCO. We're going to have the Minister of Education here, and we're going to have some other ministers from the Caribbean talking about how do we reimagine this nugget that we have. And we're going to have CXC at the table as well, because CXC need to be impacted. But how do we reimagine the Caribbean education system in an age of generative AI? We know that generative AI has a lot of discussion. We have it at UE as well, that students are cheating. But, you know, I tell folks all the time that students were cheating since I was a little boy. We radiate the yields of a very successful SIT conference. So I know SG Rodney Taylor is going to be back here with his team in July. So I want to thank everyone so much, and I'll drop the registration link in the chat.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Charles. Appreciate very comprehensive presentation. There are a few comments on the chat, but I'm going to ask you to answer those in the chat if you can. Stay a bit longer, because we do have to move in the interest of time to the next presentation from the International Telecommunication Union, and there will be 3 persons presenting. First, Mr. Walid Matlauti, who's the head of Future Networks and Spectrum Management Division in the ITU, and also Mr. Pablo Palacios, the program officer in the ITU, and of course, we all know Mr. Cleveland Thomas, and they'll be telling us about 3 upcoming ITU events in June, July, and September. So let's go with Mr. Walid Matlauti first, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today to share with you our program. If you allow me quickly, I'm going to share my screen. So this is the webpage for the upcoming do you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We are seeing RRS 24.
Yeah.
Americas.
Yes, correct.
Americas, yeah.
So yeah, for some reason I appear under the name of our dear friend Thomas Cleveland. I didn't know how to fix that, but this is Walid speaking here. So yeah, the event is for the last week of July, from the 22nd and 27th of July, 2024, in St. George, Grenada. It is a combination of the Radio Regional Seminar 24 for the Americas, as well as like the ITUD Forum on Satellite Connectivity. We will be, I will post the link for the event page on the chat. I'm gonna also share with you the draft is still work in progress, the draft of the event. So it will be a whole week starting from Monday until Saturday. The first day here in this column here, we will be starting with the
recording in progress
and how we can include them. We will try also to invite some speakers from companies that do provide direct-to-cell connectivity today, even though it's not yet standardized, or it's not yet being finalized in the WFC agenda. We will try to have an understanding of the technology and the capabilities. We will also have a session about satellite systems for aeronautical and maritime services, remote sensing, uh, with a variety of experts from the ITUD sector as well. And we will also have a discussion about the regulatory framework for leveraging the LEO, the new LEO constellations. We are hoping, it's still work in progress, to have a visit to an Earth station by the end of the program, the last day. Try to take an understanding, have an understanding of what these connectivity option involves in terms of equipment and operations. So that's kind of the program. I'll drop the website link in the chat, and happy to take any questions. Over back to you.
Right, thank you very much, and we'll keep you posted if questions do come up. We're moving to Pablo Palacios, who will tell us about the cyber drill taking place in Lima, Peru. Is Pablo on?
Yes, good afternoon.
hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, if you let me, I can share my screen. Can I? So, yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So, I am Pablo Palacios. I'm working on ITU at the area office of for South American Spanish-speaking countries, located in Santiago, in Chile, and I am also the focal point for the whole America regions and child line protection. So, since we have so few minutes, so I'm going to go very fast on the story of the work what we do in cybersecurity. So since 1965, developing several activities inside from the RISIS action provided to building the international protection, and we have been the activities the national cybersecurity guidelines, the good project, the main cyber, first international the first and as well the national CIRTs and establishment and the incident handlings events like the cyber drills. So here we can see all the areas of intervention of ITU from the data and advocacy, the Global Cybersecurity Index, the research. In incident response, we deliver and we establish national CIRTs within the digital forensic labs and the national cybersecurity strategies and the action plans and the cybersecurity governance, and also the cyber drills, which is an event where we deploy several scenarios for incident handling for the national teams of the CIRTs or CERTs from the government and from national teams. So then they have these challenges and they solve all the scenarios in a very safe environment. We have also developing skills through the several initiatives like Women in Cyber Security, Youth for Cyber, and also during the cyber drills, we deliver several specific technical trainings on cybersecurity. It can be incident handling, can be forensic labs, it can be pen testing, it can be threat intelligence, and many other trainings, technical training, specific trainings. And as well, here is all the three pillars for global cooperation, which is global cooperation, standardization, and developing cybersecurity capacity. This is the work we do in CYB, so the Cybersecurity Department of ITU. Our partners are all governments. We have partners from the private sector, international and regional organizations, the NGOs and civil society, and through all the ITU regional presence, area offices and regional offices. So from these partners that you can see, many of them, they come to the drills to deliver several specific technical trainings and scenarios for the national CIRT teams or CERT teams. So here, this is the mandate that we received to deliver the cyber drills, and we create the cyber drill framework that you can download from the ITU webpage. And we have been developing several drills in America. We are going to deliver the 14th and the 15th cyber drills this year. One is going to be in Peru, and the second one is going to be in Bahamas. The dates for the Bahamas still to be confirmed, but the dates for Peru are already confirmed. I'm going to show you later. Here, what is the purpose of the cyber drills? So the purpose is really to build capacity and provide the unique opportunity for the national teams of the cybersecurity to handle incidents, to respond to incidents, to real attacks, to create collaboration, to let them work together collaboratively, not challenging each other, but trying to help them to work in solving all the scenarios. And when one team solves the scenario, so then this team can help another team. So the idea is building trust between the national teams of the CERTs of the region, of the America region, and work and share information and share expand to help each other for a global regional force to work incidents and the cyber threats. The exercises are built by ITU and by the partners. It can be the host country also. It can be the partners. We have plenty of partners from America and from Europe and from the other regions. And as well, the ITUs have been developing theirs. We are also constantly improving them. So as I mentioned, 17, 18 September still they will be days. So it's going to be a sub-regional drill for the Caribbean countries because it's going to be in English only, and it's going to be in Bahamas. So the idea is to introduce the national CERT of the Bahamas to all the Caribbean and to create this link between the CERTs of the other countries in the Caribbean and to build these relations and the trust to work together between the Caribbean countries. And the second one is going to be from the 23 to 27 September in Lima, Peru. Is going to be hosted by Initeluni. We have several co-organizers, and it's going to be in Spanish and English. So we will have interpretation Spanish and English. The idea of the national the drills is we have some sessions for this and the initiatives in the region. Then we have technical trainings which are provided by, for example, NIST, for example, FIRST, Interpol is invited, ISOC, LACNIC, as well, UNOC, UNCCT, all of you for teams, and it's for free. So then it's going to be offered for the national teams of the incident handling, so the CERTs and CERTs, decision takers about cybersecurity from the administrators, and all organizations towards cybersecurity nationally and as well from the civil society and who is going to be attended. For example, NIST, INCIBE, Internet Society, Interpol, OAS, UNCTAD, UNCTT, the World Bank, and many others. So this is the idea of the cyber drills, and we are open to expand the scenarios and to expand as well the sessions for discussions and the topics to make them every year more interesting for the participation of the national teams, and as well to challenge them more with different new topics that are coming with the new technologies. So this is my presentation. I thank you very much, and I pass the floor to the moderator.
Thank you very much, Pablo. I didn't see CARICOM Impact there, but I would highly recommend that CARICOM Impacts be contacted as a very important initiative as the regional organization with responsibility for security. So that's just an observation. Go straight to Cleveland Thomas to tell us about the workshop taking place in Bahamas on meaningful connectivity. Go ahead, Cleveland.
Thank you very much, Mr. SG, and good afternoon to everyone. And thank you for also receiving the presentations from my two colleagues, Walid and Pablo. In the interest of time, I'm not going to be overly long, only to recognize that we have one of the key digital transformation enablers is that of meaningful connectivity. And we need to understand, most of us really to understand the extent to which countries have connection. It's not enough simply to say that the percentage share of the population that's connected as a universal metric. I think we have moved beyond that. And we saw the need to understand connectivity to a greater extent as we understand in terms of investment, COVID period, etc. So for us, despite some of the improvement we have seen in the connection to the internet by developing and developing countries or otherwise, including SIDS, we still know that over 1/3 of the world's population, close to 3 billion people, are not connected. So what are we trying to do? We are trying really to bring together a number of people, and in collaboration with the European Commission, the ITU, is organizing a series of regional workshops. For our part of the world, there's a regional workshop for the Caribbean to promote measuring universal and meaningful connectivity. It is due for next week, the 11th to the 13th of June, and it is going to be at the British Colonial Hotel in Nassau, Bahamas. Yeah, it is just within a week's time. We already have close to 75 people or so that are registered, especially from within the region. Why is it important? Because when we talk meaningful connectivity, we are not just talking about numbers. We are talking about the level of connectivity that allows use to have safe, satisfying, enriching, and productive online experience. And in order to do that, we need information. Most of us know that within the region, there's a lack of data. So this meeting or workshop is really trying to examine the concept, try to streamline it, and to encourage the whole issue of gathering information at the national level, to try to train and educate statisticians on the kind of information that we need to enable better information sharing, gathering, and for decision making. So the event, as I said, is within a week from now. Hopefully, if you have any information getting online, I think there's a single slide we can share, or even put within the chat that I just shared some information to get more information. It's free of charge and you are welcome. So thanks again for the time. Over to you.
Cleveland, that would be the last one for the ITU presentation. And in response to whether these events are on our page, yes. The CTU, if we separated them with respect to CTU events and non-CTU events, so partners and so on, like the ITU, you'll find them on our website, and I've placed the link in the chat there for your consideration. So thanks to all three of you for updating us on these very important events. We'll move now to Mr. Miguel Ignacio Estrada, or Nacho for short. He's the Chief Strategic Relations Officer for LACNIC. And he'll tell us, he's one of the key partners as well, and CTU is working with him to host this event here at our headquarters. This is the School of Digital Transformation and Innovation, the Caribbean version. Miguel? He's there? Yes, raise your hand. Okay. I am here. Okay, so over to you. There you go.
Hi, everyone. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Give me a second. Well, first of all, thanks for the invitation. Again, for the second time in a year we are here. I'm going to be shortly speaking about the School of Digital Transformation and Innovation in the Caribbean. I wanted to first to give a background on this school. It was conceived as a capacity building program to deliver relevant content to policymakers through lectures, mini courses, case studies, and peer-to-peer learning and debates. It was from its first time, it has now 10 editions. It was collaboratively organized by the UN Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ICLAC, CAF, the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean, and CETIC.br, the Regional Center of Studies for Development of the Information Society. It's a department that belongs to NIC.br. And since 2022, together with the other technical community organizations from the region, we joined as co-organizer for this school. The main objectives of this school is, first of all, knowledge enhancement. It's to provide participants with comprehensive understanding of digital transformation, including technology's impact and potential of Caribbean context. Then improve policy development. The idea is to facilitate discussions on policy frameworks that support digital transformation, and innovative solutions is to encourage the development of innovative strategies to tackle digital challenges and leverage opportunities with small island development states. The themes for this edition, the 2024 edition, are listed in screen. I'm going to just go through them. The first of all will be an introduction to the internet ecosystem and how the internet works, the different actors, processes, and emerging trends. The second will be transitioning to a data-driven economy, governance and regulatory implications. The third will be aligning digitalization and productivity goals, review of practical ICT applications, and the final one, the global digital economy, financial inclusion, and sustainable digital finance. All of those themes have sub-themes will be the development during the days of the school. The target audience is mid to senior policymakers at ICT ministers across the Caribbean, and as well we'll be inviting people from other ministries like trade, planning, and economy and legal affairs. They all will be considered based on the capacity at the venue. These are this is the information, hard information for the school. The dates will be through 12th until the 15th of August of this year, from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. each day. The organizers, as I was mentioning, are going to be ECLAC, CAF, CETIC.br, the LAC technical community, and the University of the West Indies, as well as the CTU, who's actively collaborating with us. The mode is in-person participation, and language will be obviously English. We're not gonna be having interpretation services, and we'll be awarding certificates for those who participate in at least 2/3 of the activities. The registration is by invitation only. These invitations are extended to governments and with the help of the CTU as well. And that's it. I don't know if you have any questions. I'm here for those.
Thank you, Nacho. We are very keen on hosting this meeting here at the CTU headquarters, and we, as you know, we're in weekly planning meetings to ensure that we have the participation. I believe the number is what 10? We're offering support. About 15 participants from the region to ensure that we have good 15 fellowships. And we look forward to, and we encourage you to apply as soon as the link is available. We will share that with you. So thank you, Nacho.
Thank you, Rodney and Nigel.
Okay, so we'll hand over now to Ms. Sonia Gill, who is the Secretary General of the CBU. CBU is a part of the ICT cluster of organizations, along with CARICOM Impact, CTU, and the CARICOM Secretariat. And she's here to tell us about her annual general meeting taking place in beautiful Belize. Over to you.
Thank you so much. It is really a pleasure to be here, and I want to say congratulations to CTU for this event. It's your third time around, and it really is valuable to learn about what's happening in our sectors, our related sectors, academia, regulators, and main stakeholders. And I'm wondering if maybe we should be doing this twice a year because there's so much relevant activity that you are helping to bring to the fore. So thank you again. Well, I've noticed a sort of theme running through the events that we've been talking about so far in today's session: sustainability and resilience. And CBU is on trend with this, with our 55th Annual General Assembly taking place in Belize from August 11 to 14. This time we'll be shining the spotlight on media and the environment. As you know, this year, World Press Freedom Day, the focus was on journalism for the planet, and we're looking at the other aspects, not just the content aspects, but we'll also be paying attention to the actual sector and its own sustainability and resilience. The conference kicks off on the Sunday with our social slash networking slash stakeholder slash getting to know the environment of Amazing Belize. On Sunday the 11th, there will be the delegates tour. And then in the evening, critical stakeholders in the sector will be participating in what we're describing as the exhibitors showcase. Our official opening with the Prime Minister of Belize, the Honorable John Briceño, will be on Monday the 12th, and then we get into the conference day where we explore our theme, media and the environment, sustainable communication. We have some friends who will be supporting us in this from the region, but also from outside of the region. The Minister of the Sustainable Environment and Climate Change in Belize will be one of the featured speakers. But from outside the region, we're going to be hearing from Professor Dr. Jens Muller, who is the Corporate Planning and Sustainability Coordinator at ZDF, the Public Service Media in Germany, as well as from CBC Canada, Athena Rastelis, who's the Senior Manager, Environmental Sustainability and at that organization. We'll also be hearing from members of the CBU themselves, and we'll be exploring more what's being done with partners and within organizations to ensure the sustainability of the media sector within the region. We talk a lot about the financial sustainability, but in recognition of the fact that it is a critical sector also being affected by climate change, the media sector will be paying attention to that this year. We're getting support from our own regional Caribbean Community Climate Change Center based in Belize, as well as the Nature Conservancy's Caribbean Division, which will be hosting a very special session on the Tuesday conference day, looking at coral reefs and media sector action that's relevant to preserving those very critical structures in the region. I'm not going to extend my presentation. You can learn more about our full program, our sector partners who will be participating, our awards gala, and the other key events by going to our website, www.caribroadcastunion.org. And of course, any questions, I'm happy to respond to those. So back to you, SG Taylor, and any questions, feel free.
Thank you very much for helping us stay on track in terms of the time. We're in Belize. You know, we just had a meeting in Belize in San Ignacio, and we know there's San Pedro, a number of beautiful places. Where is it going to be?
It's one of the other beautiful places, Placencia. The only interesting thing is it's going to be a 3 hour ride by ground or a short plane flight from Belize City to get to Placencia. We really believe in a captive audience at the CBU.
Okay, good move. Okay, thank you so much. We are going to, I don't know, like I didn't see on the agenda those big tech companies that everyone is concerned about, like the Netflix and so on, and whether they're factored into your discussion, but we can take that discussion offline perhaps. We'll move then to Maria Celeste Fuenmayer from CTEL, the Inter-American Telecommunication Commission of the Organization of American States, to tell us about two upcoming CTEL meetings. CTEL, the 45th meeting of PCC1 and the 44th meeting of the Permanent Consultative Committee 2. One is on telecommunications, ICT, and the second one on radio communications. Go ahead, Maria, and thanks for joining us. We are seeing
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting CITEL for this important meeting. We are glad to report that we have a very successful meeting, the 44th meeting of PCC1 in Panama. We, on behalf of our Secretary, Executive Secretary, Oscar Leon, we thank you again, CTU, for inviting us for this meeting. Well, the idea of this presentation is summarize what we're going to have in the following semester of the CTEL activities regarding our PCC's meeting. So, well, our upcoming meeting are scheduled for the PCC1 for August in Joao Pessoa from the 19th to 24th of August. The PCC2 meeting that is regarding radio communication will be scheduled for September 23 to 22nd in Mexico. And our last meeting of the year will be our Board of Directors Executive Committee that will be held in Colombia in late November from 19 to 21. So you are guys inviting for this meeting to participate, and we are in the full swing move for the preparation for the WTSA in the PCC1, as well as we are preparing right now for WRC 27 already in radio communication field. Our next meeting will be in Joao Pessoa, Brazil. As indicated in my introduction, we are in the preparation of CITEL for WTSA. This is going to be the final meeting. In this meeting, we're wrapping up our preparation toward the meeting in India. And the idea of this meeting is to closing as much as possible the draft Inter-American proposal to convert in an IP. But for that reason, we're probably going to have interim meeting in between July in order to continue the drafting of some others preliminary proposal, as well as some DIPs that are in progress. So the idea is to have this coordination meeting, to have this working meeting, in order the members stay present a little bit more of the advance of the work regarding the DIP. In this meeting, we're going to have some other activities. We're going to have a special session on quantum computing. This is an event hosted by the host country. So we're going to preparing some agenda in the due course. So we are working toward to have this special session in Joao Pessoa, as well as we're going to have a workshop regarding the infrastructure and sharing, and as well thinking ahead what the advance in the meaningful connectivity mean for our region. Also, we're going to have a presentation about Smart C. That is a project that is ongoing with CTU and ITU. And also, we're going to have a hand-on training and just a capacity building activity in order to prepare delegates toward the WTSA. This activity will be more focused on newcomers as well as women. And also, as you know, we are having PCC one have a mentoring program that we are, working toward our meeting in November in the WTSA, as well as other activities regarding WTDC. We're gonna have our like a ceremony that it's gonna be like a graduation activity for all the mentees that that we have in this program. So this is gonna be a very fun activity. We have dealing with so many workshops, courses, and meetings during the year in preparation of our mentee to WTSA. But we are always going to have as well this continuity in this program for WTDC as well. So the idea of CITEL is prepare the delegates for every single meeting. So we're going to have preparation for WTSA, WTDC, PP, and as well WRC. So regarding our preparation, in these slides, we already talking about that in the previous meeting. We continue with our same authorities and chairs and vice chair. So Mrs. Ena Decani from USA and vice chair Mr. Sanon from Brazil. We continue working in the 3 working teams. So if you have any other consult and you have any question, please don't hesitate to contact the CITEL Secretariat for that. Regarding the preparation, I added more information in this slide regarding the schedule or the timeline that we're going to have in preparation for October in New Delhi. So if you see right now, we are updating this schedule with one interim meeting that we're going to be having in July based in the decision made in the 44 meeting. We don't have the date yet, but we're going to be announced pretty soon. Also, you can notice in this timeline that we're going to have 2 interregional meetings with ITU. One is proposed for July 25th, and the other one is September 9th, where the different regions and different have the opportunity to present the status on preparation for WTSA. In this regard, as you notice, that the contribution for deadline is September 16. That means the CITEL Secretariat has just less than a month to prepare all IPs to be sent for ITU in order to be on time for this deadline. From now, updating the status of CITEL for this important meeting, I would like to inform that we have 7 Inter-American proposals, 1 draft Inter-American proposal. So you're going to have this information available in the table of support, that is document 6472 revision 1, that I'm going to share with CTU in order to express this information and with your members. But I would like to mention very highlight that you're going to have this more detail in the table of support, as well in the 2 following slices that they indicate what are the IPs are already approved, which ones are DIPs, which one are still in the stage of preliminary proposals. As indicated, CITEL continue working toward this meeting. We're going to have the interim meeting that we're going to probably wrapping up many of these draft Inter-American proposal to be an IP in the future. Regarding the preparation for WTDC in this meeting, we are working as well in this preparation. We already talk about how can we dealing with 2 meetings at the same time, because Joao Pessoa wrapping the final meeting for WTSA, and it's going to be the beginning of the WTDC. So we are encouraged our CITEL member to submit contribution to start thinking ahead about this preparation. But also, I would like to inform that right now it is in ITU, they are having the council. So they are one of the draft decisions that are proposing is inviting council to considering the invitation of the Azerbaijan to hold the WTDC meeting in Baku. So this is something, is a draft decision that the council are right now in study. So probably we're going to have some more details at the end of the week. Regarding the PCC2 meeting, we're going to have the meeting in Mexico. We are not have the city yet, so we're going to be informing pretty soon. We are wrapping up this organization with the host country, but as indicated, we are continue preparing for WRC 27. We're going to be have the new authority for now for WRC 27, and also in the framework of this meeting, they're going to have a Latin American Spectrum Management Conference that is regarding, to share experience and best practice in order to promote more effective radio frequency spectrum and policies and regulation. I would like to inform as well that in the last meeting in Uruguay, they are forming the group who's going to be the leadership for this preparation for WRC 27. And I'm glad to inform that we're going to have 3 women's leader vice chairs in this committee, and one of them is Miss Maria Mayer, a friend of us from Jamaica. So we are glad that they're having these strong authorities that are going to be leader us toward to this important conference. In order to continue this preparation, we are very focused in CITEL to assist our newcomer and women to be representatives in all these conferences. So in this time, I would like to inform that for WTSA, we're going to have Mrs. Tania Villa as our America representative. And we have as well Dr. Kim Malaliu that is still have his title as a WTSA chair, as well as our mentoring program leadership. So as well, we have our now for WRC 27, and they was announcing in the last Uruguay meeting, and we have Miss Shelley Hansky from USA, and we have 3 vice chair that accompany her in this important endeavor, that is Miss Amalia Castro from Mexico, Michelle Caldera from Brazil, and Mrs. Lina Zuluaga from Colombia. So I would like to take a moment right here to invite all our female delegate, our leadership women in the region to join us in this important activity, in this important initiative, and collaborate toward, to be a successful meeting, a participation, meaningful participation of ladies in these events. So I would like to thank you one more time, CTU, to having CITEL in this important meeting, and I'll be at your disposal for any question, as well as we're going to be in contact with CTU to transfer all the information that are recently, having in Panama, that we are preparing our final report, as well as all the information regarding the IP and IEP that already will circulate pretty soon for all the members. Thank you so much for having me this afternoon.
Thank you, Maria. We look forward to working with you to help build consensus in the region with respect to those IAPs that are important to our member states.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any specific questions for you. There are a few questions that we will endeavor to answer as we move forward, but none specifically on the upcoming CTEL meetings. So we'll move then to Mr. Nigel Casimir, who's here in the room with us, the Deputy Secretary General of the CTU, to tell us about the 20th Caribbean Internet Governance Forum and the 3rd Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum taking place where it all started, Georgetown, Guyana.
Thank you very much, SG. And yes, it was in 2005 when the World Summit on the Information Society was being wound up, or just before the final session of that WSIS conference of the UN, that in that year 2005, the CARICOM Secretariat requested the CTU to address this matter of internet governance, which was before the WSIS, on behalf of the Caribbean. And in September of 2005, we convened our first event where we brought together a multi-stakeholder group of Caribbean persons to deal with this internet governance matter, and we called it the Caribbean Internet Governance Forum. Little did we know we were starting a trend. Out of that, we got Caribbean inputs, harmonized Caribbean inputs to go into the World Summit on the Information Society that was held in November 2005 in Tunis. And at that event, the UN decided that they would start an annual event related to internet governance, which they call the Internet Governance Forum. And we have run since September 2005 annual events of our Caribbean Internet Governance Forum, bringing us to 2024, where we will have our 20th Caribbean Internet Governance Forum event. The first one is in Guyana, and this year for the 20th edition, we will return to Guyana under the auspices of the government of Guyana. We will have our event August 21st to 23rd at the Arthur Chung Convention Center in Georgetown. For those who don't necessarily know, Internet Governance Fora are multi-stakeholder gatherings. Multi-stakeholder meaning we get people from government, we get people from the private sector, we get people from civil society, academia, from the internet community and so on, together on equal footing to address, discuss, and formulate policies and positions related to the matter of internet governance. And as those will know, as all of you will know, I mean, the internet pervades everything in life these days. So there are technical matters, there are legal matters, there are social and economic matters that all fall into the realm of internet governance. So this Caribbean Internet Governance is really the world's first and longest running regional internet governance forum. It is a non-hierarchical multi-stakeholder forum that the CTU convenes and has continued to convene. And we are focused on harmonizing internet governance policy regionally and also focusing primarily on internet governance matters of priority to the Caribbean. So from the outset, we sought to identify those aspects that had the greatest relevance to the Caribbean, and we apply our collective resources to addressing them. Given that it's within the CTU hierarchy, the outputs of the CIGF also have a pathway to influence policymakers of the entire Caribbean, because the CTU has 20 member governments of the Caribbean. So through the CTU hierarchy of our Executive Council and the General Conference of Ministers, we have taken forward and can take forward collective positions for the information and influencing of national policies in internet governance. We don't just come and talk, but we have produced and continue to update a document which we call the Caribbean Internet Governance Policy Framework, which basically collates all those harmonized policies and policy proposals that the forum has developed over the years. So in that sense, our CIGF is more than just a preparatory meeting for other IGFs, be they through the wider region, like the Latin American Caribbean IGF or the UN Zone Global IGF. And what we have sought to do in addition is enhance the synergies between the work that we do in the CIGF with internet governance or multi-stakeholder work at our own national levels within the Caribbean. And through the CIGF, we've spawned national IGFs in Trinidad and Tobago, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in Barbados, and there are others who have held gatherings not on an annual basis, but on an ad hoc basis. So August 21st to the 23rd at the Arthur Chung Convention Center in Guyana is where we will hold this. Let me just, what we've developed over the years is a kind of a template for this 3-day event, which I'll just kind of share with you here. In the last 2 years, this would be 24, so let's say 2022, we introduced on a permanent basis a Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum. It's affiliated with, I won't say it's a subsidiary of, because the youth are empowered to run their own event and develop their own topics. But for the time being, until maybe it has grown a little more, we make space within the Caribbean Internet Governance Forum agenda for the Youth IGF to be convened. So if we just look at the template that we have there, on day one, we tend to have an introductory type content, basically trying to welcome in persons who are new to internet governance, to make sure that as we get into the more specific topics later on, everyone would be at kind of the same level of understanding, so that everyone can contribute to the proceedings. So on day one, we tend to have a little introduction and capacity building activities, and we accommodate the Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum session. And there is a committee of youth from multiple countries of the Caribbean who put the agenda together and basically run the program. And the outputs from that, well, not just the outputs, but the participants there also participate in days 2 and 3, which are more the standard CIGF type proceedings. On what is called day 2 on this particular program, we start with a formal opening ceremony, and we get inputs from the various stakeholders involved, whether they be governments, internet organizations, and we've had perennial supporters of the CIGF over the years. We hear from a lot of them in that opening ceremony, representatives from other IGFs in the region, in the wider region, or globally from the UN. We get reports later on in the morning from our national IGFs in the Caribbean, as well as the LAC IGF and the UN IGF. The UN IGF, of course, runs their annual IGF, and this opportunity is taken for them. This is an opportunity that they take to inform our Caribbean audience as to the current status and plans for the UN event, usually taking place in the fourth quarter of any year. We tend to have some workshop sessions on the second day, and then on the third day, we discuss what are like hot topics in internet governance, panel discussion, and we end with a coming together, a synthesis of the discussions we've had over the 3 days, and an open microphone. So that's kind of the template that we're using. The status we are at present is that we are filling in the blanks. We are working with the host country, and this week, in fact, do keep an eye out for communication from the CTU, where we solicit from the wider multi-stakeholder community around the Caribbean their thoughts on what are the topics that we should be addressing this year. The most popular responses we get back are reflected in the details of the agenda. And so between now and, well, I'm saying this week, that notice will go out. You'll get a 2 or 3 weeks to respond. And by the end of June into early July, we would be formulating details of the agenda. And what you're asked to do is keep tabs on the CTU website, ctu.int, to see all the developments that are taking place. So on there, we will post the general poll, as well as the progressive updates of the detailed agenda. So keep an eye out, and the activity on this is going to ramp up fairly quickly over the next few weeks. I'll stop there. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Nigel, on the 20th CIGF. And as we discussed, it's currently sort of a referendum. Even the World Summit on the Information Society is re-examining its progress since 2005. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to see what has been accomplished through the recommendations of the IGF, CIGF policy framework. So we look forward to welcoming all of you in person, but of course it's a hybrid in the spirit of internet governance. So it will be a hybrid meeting, but we welcome all of you in Georgetown, Guyana for a big CIGF reunion. On that note, we will pass over to Mr. Nate Davis, the Senior Government on the heels of the CIGF and also the 10th Caribbean Peering and Interconnection Forum, or CARPIF, taking place in Curacao. Over to you, Nate. And thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, Secretary General, and good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for the opportunity to briefly mention just a few items, and I will be very brief. Starting first with the CTU Aaron Lacknick Policy Forum, which will take place at the event that the Deputy Secretary General mentioned at the CTU's 20th Caribbean Internet Governance Forum in Georgetown. Really, that program is under development as we speak. And as the Secretary General mentioned earlier, the theme at the last event was cybersecurity. The forthcoming theme will be equally important to the Caribbean region, and pleased to keep an eye out for that regarding more information as it becomes available. Kevon Swift, along with Bevel Wooding, and the CTU team are going to be working on the actual format and program for that. So again, that is the CTU Aaron Lacknick Policy Forum in Georgetown, Guyana, August 22nd, and those details will be forthcoming. The next item I wanted to mention is the CARPIF, the Caribbean Peering and Interconnection Forum. That's going to take place as part of a CARIBNOG meeting in Curacao, 18th through the 20th of September, which Dr. Craig will speak to next, and I don't want to steal any of her thunder. But CARPIF does provide a great opportunity to explore the Caribbean's unique challenges for peering and interconnection related matters, and includes a number of stakeholders who have an interest in advancing these efforts in the region. Peering and interconnections, and in particular, the deployment of IXPs, are one of the most important advances that the Caribbean can undertake to advance both digital transformation and digital autonomy, leading to resiliency, sustainability, and reduced latency, items that we've talked about thus far. That agenda and the details of that program will be forthcoming as well on CARIBNOG's website as that crystallizes. That's really all I have for today. I'll take any questions either directly or in chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. And since the other event is so closely related, we'll ask Dr. Claire Craig to come straight in and tell us about CARIBNOG 28 taking place at the same venue.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, SG Taylor and the staff of the CTU for inviting CARIBNOG to be here to present at this preparatory meeting. And thank you, Nate, for introducing the CARPIF meeting. Let me just share my screen. 1 minute, please. The slides, where are they? Right. Where are you? Sorry, I'm just trying to get my PowerPoint to open, and it's not.
Oh, we can see it. We can see it.
Yeah, but you're seeing it in, you're not seeing it in PowerPoint mode, and
right.
My share is blocking. Let me just stop sharing.
Okay.
And just open the presentation, show slide. And then, ah. Staff, do you want to share it for me? Because I seem to be having some issues here. Yes, they have it.
Okay, we'll share it for you.
Yes, please. We decided to make sure, right, good. Thank you so much. Can you just put it in PowerPoint mode, please?
Claire, just before you begin, we have
Yes.
a raised hand from Devon Rowe, Karikad. Devon, is that in relation to a previous presentation? And if so, please go ahead and ask it now.
I'm sorry, SG. I must have raised my hand in error
Oh,
because.
no problem at all.
Yes. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Okay, go right ahead, Claire.
Okay, thanks. Can you go back to the first slide, please? No, you're going forward. Back, right. Thank you. Good. Okay, so I am Claire Craig, Dr. Claire Craig, and I am the Research Director of CARIBNOG, the Caribbean Network Operators Group. So today I'm here to speak to you primarily about CARIBNOG 28, but we will also talk a little bit about CAPIF 10. Next slide, please. Right. So these two events are taking place on the 18th to the 20th of September in Curacao. And now go back, please. Yes, in Curacao. And the CARIBNOG, this is our 28th CARIBNOG event. And this is our, so CARIBNOG actually started in 2010. And we have held meetings even during COVID, so that this is our 20th meeting that we are having in Curacao. This is not the first time that we are going to Curacao for CAPIF or for CARIBNOG. This is our 10th CAPIF meeting because CAPIF is actually an annual event. And so we're looking forward to hosting this. Now, next slide, please. So the theme, which is still a work in progress, as Nate indicated just now, is securing our internet infrastructure, strategies for enhancing digital security and resilience. And as you would know, we have had a lot of issues with cybersecurity, cyber threats in the region, particularly during COVID-19, and it continues. And so this remains a very important item on our digital agenda. Can you move forward, please? Right. So about this event, as I said, we have two main events per year, and this is for CARIBNOG, and this is the second event. We recently held our first event in April in Barbados, and that was held together with the AREN event, AREN 53. And so this second event is going to be in Curacao, and this is in the LACNIC region, and I will speak a little bit about that just in a few minutes. At our meetings, we discuss a range of cybersecurity issues, and we address issues of digital infrastructure and technology innovation. We also collaborate with our strategic partners throughout the year. So we do hold events with some of the partners, which are not numbered events. So you would hear CARIBNOG 28, CARIBNOG 27. Recently, we actually held an event in Panama, which was a CARIBNOG Day as part of the LACNIC 41 event. And that is how we collaborate with our partners. You will be hearing about an event in St. Kitts shortly, and CARIBNOG will be partnering with the CTU in that. CARIBNOG is, these events are all organized and coordinated by committed volunteers. We have no paid staff, so everything that is done in CARIBNOG is done by our volunteers. Next slide, please. So for the sessions at CARIBNOG 28 and CAPIF will feature keynote presentations, panel discussions, and technical workshops. As you would have heard, the Caribbean Peering and Interconnection Forum, which is CARPIF, is the best opportunity for Caribbean telecommunications operators, internet service providers, content providers, regulators, and hosting providers and stakeholders in the ICT sector to network, advance their business, and secure new opportunities. We also, these at CaribNOG, some of the things that we address are the Caribbean cybersecurity landscape, the Caribbean Internet Exchange Points, and you would have heard that that is one of the critical issues of CARPIF as well. And we talk about the IPv6 deployment, because I'm sure, as all of you all know, IPv4 is depleted, and we really have to move forward with our IPv6 deployment. And we talk about, we have workshops that will help to build capacity for our network operators who attend these forums. We also talk about the routing security, as well as there are workshops on resource public key infrastructure, or RPKI deployment. Now, CaribNOG is also the coordinator of the CARPIF session, and hence the reason why CaribNOG and CARPIF tend to go together, although they are not usually held at the same time or in the same venue. So on some occasions, like the meeting in Curacao, they will be held together, but this may not necessarily be the norm. What I wanted to share with some of you who may not know is that we are in a unique position in the Caribbean, in that the CaribNOG member countries receive our ASNs and IP resources from 2 internet registries, and those are AREN and LACNIC. So we are fortunate to be able to relate to both of these. And so that's why we would have meetings, as we would have heard the last CaribNOG meeting was in the AREN territory, while the upcoming meeting is in the LACNIC territory. Next slide, please. So who should attend these meetings? CaribNOG meetings are open, and CARPIF meetings are open to all stakeholders with an interest in cybersecurity and digital infrastructure. We strongly encourage our policymakers, government officials, regulators to attend these meetings, especially in light of their digitalization agendas. We invite our technology professionals, academia, and I know we have some of you in the audience right now, participants on this call, industry leaders, as well as civil society organizations, and our youths and students. So everybody is invited to attend, and there are opportunities for all. CaribNOG meetings, as you would see, as you would have heard, provides participants with valuable networking opportunities. And one of the hallmarks of our CaribNOG meeting is our CaribNOG Lime Time, where we get together and you experience Caribbean hospitality at its best. Next slide. So who are our strategic partners? We collaborate with the regional and international organizations and stakeholders to facilitate capacity development and professional networking activities. And these include our long-standing partner of the Caribbean Telecommunications Union. As I said, we are the coordinator of the CARPIF meetings, and we also include in our CARPIF we also work with AREN, Packet Clearinghouse, and the CTU. We work with ICANN, and AmCham as well. So next slide, please. So how can you get involved in CaribNOG? CaribNOG spreads its activities across the Caribbean to build our online community and deliver practical resources using the following tools. So you can get more information about CaribNOG on caribnog.org, or you can join our mailing lists, which is listed there. We also have our Women in CaribNOG, which is a new initiative that started at CaribNOG 26. We do have WhatsApp chats, and we have a YouTube channel where more information is available. So next slide. So this is really to ask you to save the date for Caribnog 28 and Carpif 10, which are on September 18th to 20th in Curacao. More information is available. More information will be available on our caribnog.org website. So please check our website for our agenda, opportunities to participate. And if you would like to present at Caribnog, please feel free to reach out to us. Next slide. Thank you. You can reach me at claire.craig@caribnog.org, and we'll be happy to share information about being a part of Caribnog 28 and Carpif 10. So thank you, SG Taylor and staff, for giving us the opportunity to share on Caribnog, and we hope to see a few of you in Curacao for this event. Let me say how I also though that Caribnog is a hybrid event. So we do have online participation. So if you can't be with us in Curacao, we invite you to join remotely. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the afternoon and this meeting.
Thank you, Claire. And I'm going to send an open invitation to you to participate in our CIGF in Guyana, because one of the key things that we've been talking about in that policy framework is the establishment of internet exchange points, and we know that, or IXPs, and we know that through Caribnog we've been able to advance quite a number of them. So I'll be very pleased to hear of the progress that we've been making in the region with respect to the establishment of IXPs and how those IXPs are impacting internet traffic in the region. So I take that you will accept this open invitation, and we can go ahead and put you on the agenda.
Thank you, SG, for calling me out like this in public.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll go now to Mr. Filippo Perozzi. I had the pleasure of meeting you in New York last year. So welcome. Thanks for joining us to tell us about this very big conference taking place in New York, the Summit of the Future. And of course, in particular interest to us is the Global Digital Compact. So happy that you could join us. And please tell us about this summit. We plan to be there. We've been tracking the progress ourselves. We're reading the zero draft and trying to ensure that our member states are fully apprised of the implications of this compact and whether or not they should in fact give it their full support. So the floor is open to you to tell us about the summit and about in particular the Global Digital Compact.
Secretary General Taylor, Rodney, thank you for having us again, and we would like to thank CTU for the engagement throughout this process and your members' commitment throughout this process of the Global Digital Compact. Now, we're moving up north from the Caribbean. As you correctly mentioned, this is an event that will take place in New York before the plenary of the General Assembly on 22nd and 23rd of September. I'm talking about the Summit of the Future. What's the Summit of the Future? The Summit of the Future is a high-level event of head of state and head of government that will need to decide on a pact that will reaffirm the UN Charter, aim at reinvigorating multilateralism, and just boost the commitment that are already existing. As you all know, we are falling behind on the Sustainable Development Goals. In that occasion, a Global Digital Compact will be agreed, and it will be annexed to the Pact for the Future. Again, as you also might be aware of, the Global Digital Compact is currently being negotiated by the permanent missions by the member states here in New York. And maybe a date or something that you might want to add to your agenda well before the 22nd of September is that the co-facilitators leading this process, that are Zambia and Sweden, they intend to continue with the multi-stakeholder sessions, and you might expect one to take place around the end of June. And please check UN Tech Envoy or just reach out to me on the website. We will upload all the relevant information. Coming back, so this is yet to say that the co-facilitators, Sweden and Zambia, they want to keep their ear out to have to hear from the multi-stakeholders throughout the process before then the compact will be agreed. Then the next step at the Summit of the Future is for all the multi-stakeholders to play a key role in how this compact will be implemented. And another occasion, another opportunity to engage would be in the action days. And if you don't mind, I will drop the link. I will drop the link in the chat. The action days will be the big opportunity for civil society, for the technical community, to the private sector, academia, to engage with world leaders and with the UN in the 2 days leading up to the Summit of the Future. These will be on Friday the 20th and Saturday the 21st of September. As you can see from the link, there will be a full day with 3 parallel tracks. I'm not going to elaborate further on the 2 tracks. I'm going to focus on the one that is called Digital Futures, that will be hosted by our office, that is the Office of the Secretary General Envoy on Technology, by ITU and by UNDP, and the focus will be very broad. You might expect to have a big session on the Global Digital Compact there. So what I would really encourage you to do, and I will keep this intervention very short, is number one, if you have been following the Global Digital Compact, as you know, you have, stay tuned, join the multi-stakeholder consultations when they will be held at the end of June. If you read the first revision of the Global Digital Compact, you will know that a lot of issues that are very close to the heart of CTU, but also of the Caribbean regions are there, from interoperability as a principle to the focus on environmental sustainability, to a very strong first chapter on connectivity. The second one is pin on your agenda, reach out to myself, to ITU and UNDP colleagues. You'll find their contacts there in the link. On how to engage and how to participate to the action days. That would be the day 0 of the Summit of the Future. The Summit of the Future itself with the Global Digital Compact, and I'm gonna wrap it up for this, will be a session at the head of state and head of government level. And the day 0, and this is something that the Secretary General of the UN really cares about, will be an opportunity for the private sector, civil society, technical community, and also and especially youth to come and have a say on what will happen at the head of state and head of government level the following couple of days. And if you have any questions, I'll drop also my email address here in the chat. And Secretary General, thanks again, and back to you.
Thank you, Filippo, for that update. And just for clarification, while there's been, the compact has been developed through a multi-stakeholder process, engagement process, at the UN General Assembly, it would really be the member states of the UN who are voting or agreeing or supporting the implementation of the content of the compact.
Yes, that is correct. In the implementation, it is foreseen a role for all the stakeholders. Since this is an intergovernmental process, the agreement will be at the government level. The agreement will be at the government level, but again, one of the purpose of these action days will be that this will not be only intergovernmental. While it will be intergovernmental in terms of like they will be agreed by member states, then for the implementation, member states will not be able, and we do not wish for them to go alone. So it will be very important for all of you to be there, and also to give us idea on the role that you can and you should play moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Now, any special accreditation process for non-state members of the UN?
At the moment, I think this will be dealt by the protocol office. But again, the action days will be day 0, so it will not be for the summit. The summit will be for member states only. But for the action days that will precede the summit, there will be no special accreditation. I think it will be the usual usual process run by the colleagues at the protocol that will make sure that all the guests have access to the UN premises. And for those of you that have been in New York around the UN General Assembly, you know how hectic can be to enter there, but there will be no special process for that, just the usual accreditation. And I will share additional information as soon as we have it.
All right, thank you very much again. I've shared a link as well to a presentation that was done by Diplo Foundation on this topic at our SIDS IGF last week. And I put it in the chat for the benefit of all of our participants to read a little bit more about the process and about the compact itself. So thank you. Okay, so we'll now move to the short presentation on the CTU ICT Week. I'll be doing that. And I just have a few slides to share with you. The CTU ICT Week, of course, is our signature event here at the CTU Secretariat. It's an opportunity for us. You're saying full screen? Okay, good. It's an opportunity for us to meet with our General Conference of Ministers. Those are all of the ICT ministers that form the General Conference of the CTU. We also meet with our Executive Council members, and this will be the second time we're meeting them for the year. Those are the permanent secretaries and chief advisors to the ministers. So those are two we are obligated to host those meetings, but we have a number of events around the meetings of the ministers and the executive council, and I'll share that with you. It is taking place, of course, in beautiful St. Kitts and Nevis from the 30th of October to the 30th of September to the 4th of October 2024. While there are a few closed, the theme, let me just say, bridging technologies for a sustainable and inclusive future. So this is the week at a glance. We're opening with the ministerial seminar. This is open to all of our stakeholders. Very simple registration process. Is free. You do have to register if you want to be attending in person, and of course you can participate online as well. We usually receive presentations there from our key sponsors and our key private sector members on matters of interest. I'm sure we are still developing the agenda, but I'm sure artificial intelligence and topics like 5G and cybersecurity will feature prominently there. We also have the second meeting of the Caribbean Youth Network. We launched this in Barbados last year, and we'll be advancing, of course, supporting our youth in the region and formulating their own group with our support so that they can, we have, as it were, a youth track to all of the events that we have, ICT Week, CIGF, even the Spectrum Management Task Force, that there be a youth component. We have, I mentioned, the Executive Council meeting. This will be our 51st. The 50th one was held in Belize. We have these twice a year. And then we have a joint meeting of the Executive Council and the General Conference. This is also open. So this will be an opportunity for you to hear a bit more about the internal workings of the CTU, our strategic planning process that we launched in Belize, and an opportunity for you to come and share with us as well what are some of the areas that you think we should be focusing on, and meet some of your regional counterparts. On Wednesday the 2nd, we have the General Conference, the 30th General Conference of Ministers. This is a closed session. We get into the finances of the CTU, any internal matters, any resolutions that require their support would be tabled here as well. This is one of the few closed sessions. You will understand why. The 9th Caribbean ICT Regulators Forum also takes place. This is by invitation, hosted by regional regulators. One of the key topics there will be the harmonization of our regional regulatory framework. That is some work we're doing now with the support of the ITU. We have contracted Michelle Marius, the consultant, who has already prepared a draft report. And we're hoping to gain some consensus with respect to the way forward with our regional regulatory matters. As usual, we will have our ICT for People with Disabilities workshop, focusing on blind, deaf, and persons with mobility challenges. Usually for these workshops, there's a huge local contingent. We bring in regional facilitators who've been with us from the inception. And of course, our objective is, from a policy perspective, is to ensure that our ICT strategies and policies are inclusive and accessible to all. Claire mentioned the collaboration with Caribnog. That will be taking place there as well. And we're working on some very interesting collaboration between Caribnog and the Universal Postal Union. And we're hoping that we can advance that there as well. St. Kitts and Nevis will be having a digital St. Kitts and Nevis ICT roadshow. This will be in Nevis, but you know, it's a twin island, or St. Kitts and Nevis. And so in Nevis, we'll be having a roadshow of sorts. If you recall the roadshows that we used to have from 2009, just before I joined the CTU, my prior incarnation. We'll be having a mini roadshow in Nevis to focus on the local internet community and local development. And we'll have a public forum as well to close it off on Saturday, the 5th of October. This will be in a community center, I believe. But yeah, an opportunity to move out of the conference venue into the community to talk about ICT matters that are relevant to the man on the street, as we call it. So the venue, well, I'll get to the venue in a second, but we have confirmation from the Secretary General of the International Telecommunications Union to participate in person. And this will be the first time she's visiting the Caribbean since being elected as Secretary General. So we look forward to hearing from her directly. We have some very high-profile speakers. We've extended invitations to a number of people. I won't share the names right now because we're still waiting on confirmation. But this promises to be a very high-level meeting, and I encourage you to come and participate with us in St. Kitts and Nevis. The venue is the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. We've hosted meetings there before. It is one of the best facilities in St. Kitts and Nevis, in particular for hosting conferences. But as you can see, it's located on a beautiful beach, and I'm sure you can find half an hour or so to go out and get a suntan. And so that's it for us. Like I said, the agenda itself is under development, and we will share that if you keep track of. Maybe you can end my share. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Right, so that's it, and we encourage you to visit our website. As we update the agenda, we will be updating, and speakers, we will be updating our website on a weekly basis. No questions? Okay, so if there are no questions, that brings us to the end of the particular segment on upcoming meetings that we felt you needed to know about. And we thank all the speakers who gave us information on those upcoming meetings. We'll shift gears a bit now and go to our industry watch. What is happening in the industry that we need to be concerned about? And of course, top of the list is artificial intelligence that is getting everyone excited, some people scared. But what should we be thinking? What should we be concerned about and focusing on with respect to artificial intelligence at the global level? We've discussed this issue before, but I'm sure we'll get some useful insights today from Sonia, who is joining us from Omdia. She's the Senior Principal Analyst for Latin America. Thanks for joining us. Sonia, please take the floor.
Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, CTU team. Thank you for inviting us again to present on this particular significant topic. As you said, I have some slides. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if it is working. Let's see. You can see my slides. Okay. Well, basically, as you already know, Omdia, it's a leading research and consulting firm with more of 400 analysts all over the world, and we specialize in TMT. And we work particularly with all the industry, also universities, regulators, telecom companies, tech companies, investment banks. So really what we have is basically an independent opinion and view of what's happening in the market. And of course, at top level, we have artificial intelligence. And the main change has been with the launch of ChatGPT in November 2022, that only in 5 days reached 1 million users. Really, it's impressive. Around 20% of the population use it currently. So it's one of the AI technologies that's been more used and brought this topic to the mainstream agenda. But basically, there are many AI applications, and we're going to try to understand how this is happening in the market and how it's evolving, and basically what's the regulation approach. I would say ChatGPT is basically generative AI. That the main difference is that it can create new content. It's not like the traditional AI that you have a platform, a system that has been trained and can recognize patterns and make predictions. But this is really something very new that can create new things. And so you really don't know how the connections were made and how you can see a new text, an audio, a video has been created. So many different concerns have appeared, but what is clear that is a top agenda topic at the communication service provider market. You can see here all the different areas where they have to work towards the priority, new technologies, and AI is at the top also in terms of hype and also in terms of priority. So basically it's really relevant that also regulators work on this. The telcos are already using AI, as many of us in many parts of what we're doing. And basically, AI can be in different parts of the telecoms network, basically in the central cloud, at the edge, and also in the smartphone. But for what it's being used? Currently, the most top usage is in chatbot assistants, virtual assistants, to help drive the conversation and the help of the customer. In second place, you can see in the network, very useful for planning, to find problems in the network. We are a little bit far away from the automized network, but that's the way that things are going to happen in the coming years. And the third area where it's been most used and more mature is the customer journey. Try to bring some personalization, which are the plans that are best for a certain client, when you see that a client may drop the service. So really helpful in terms of helping the telco to be basically more efficient. It's not that much of bringing more revenue, but for the moment it's more efficient and also make cost savings. And so what's the main thing that has appeared? When we did a survey, we saw that in 2021, when we asked how urgent is to regulate AI, only 40% of the people said it was urgent. Last year, it said 60%. So basically, if we do it this year, probably it's going to be more. So there's a high concern in everyone of how to regulate or how to address this topic that has bring so many concerns and questions. And there are many challenges because we see, of course, as you were saying, cybersecurity, safety is a top one, but also privacy, controllability, ethics, transparency, intellectual property, collaboration and interoperability. And here, what is so important is to have an international cooperation and also have frameworks that are flexible and can adapt, because we can see how this is changing day by day. So what's happening internationally? There are several guidance. You can see many. Basically, the one that is more developed is the OECD, that 47 countries have adopted the AI principles, and that last month was updated with new principles, and also the UNESCO Ethical Artificial Intelligence Guide. But there's also regional guides, like, for example, in the European Pact, the G7, and also national different frameworks in different countries. You can see here in this map many initiatives to regulate. You can see the US. Maybe you think that's not that regulated, but you have 82 regulations that are being discussed, many at the federal level. Of course, also in the European Union, you have 63. But also interesting that you have in the African Union, there's already 2 regional initiatives. So interesting that you're working already together in the Caribbean to address some of these policies in terms of the region, and it would be very important to do something with all Latin America and the Caribbean region all together. So as I said, the OECD principles, I think they are one of the most relevant to have a look at, where you have everything regarding to sustainable development, human rights, transparency, robustness, and accountability. You have several guides that can help create practical decisions and policies. Also, there's a lot of material. You have tools, you have metrics, how to train a system, how to see if a system adapts to the ethics that are being proposed. And there are many. So what the thing is here, what to choose, because you have many options, but there are many material that you can access here at the OCD Observatory. The other one is the ethic guide of the UNESCO. It's very generic, but also gives good guidance of where to start with in terms of data policy, ethical, gender, culture, education, and all the main concerns that has to do with the ethics. And, and also there's another area that's the auto-regulation, the self-regulation. Here you have the guides, that, for example, developed by Telefonica, the ones of Microsoft, here the ones that Google does, and also they update every year. But although you have all of these different guides, you can see this last year with Gemini AI from Google that created images that were totally out of the history. And while you have all this bias, maybe you can want to do something good to have stop the bias that are already in the culture, but sometimes you get facts that are not correct. So there's a lot of challenges on how to address this. Other part of the discussions has to do with geopolitics. There's a run in which of the countries are going to be the fastest one and the one that's having the latest artificial intelligence. And here we have, of course, a new Cold War between China and the US. And for example, as an example of this, you can see that ChatGPT have been banned in many countries, sometimes regarding to democratic values. And also there were initial bans, for example, in Italy that were lifted afterwards. But this shows how complicated the situation is. And of course, the European Union wants to take the lead after they did the GDPR, and now they have the Digital Act. And they, after several years, they reached this European Artificial Intelligence Act that was formally approved last December and in force, and final draft was in April 2024, but it has like 500 pages, many chapters, articles, annexes, and really is going to be in place really next year, and some parts in 2026 and some in 2027. You can have here a list of what are the contents. I said was 500 pages. These are the annex. There's a new annex that was added for generative AI. That was something new that appeared during the process. So it shows how complicated it is, and also all these principles how are going to be taken in practice afterwards. The thing is that it's been is learning during the process. And here basically it's based in different risk levels. There are some risks that are unacceptable, high risk, limited risks, minimum risk. And based on this, there's a process for the ones that have high risk that should be compliant and present what it's been included. Things that has to do with justice, with law, with immigration, education. And there's some areas that are totally prohibited or with some limitations as facial recognition that could have some approval for certain police and guardian process. But really, you can see that it's a complex regulation, and still it's been seen how this is going to be regulated. And what's happening here in Latin America is going to be quick. The first important thing that happened was last year in Santiago de Chile. That was this ethical AI summit, where more than 20 countries signed to follow the UNESCO AI ethics recommendation. So that's what been following. Also, you can see this Latin American AI index that has been developed, and you can see which are the countries that are leading the AI process, and based in the enabling factors, research and development and adoption, and also the governance. Those are the three pillars that create this index. Another interesting area that is including the Caribbean is the AI Readiness Index, that you can see that only less than 20% of the countries have already public policies in force regarding AI, so many things to work on. And then this is very recent. Last month, CAF issued this guide to design public policies and recommendations to develop an AI strategy for the countries. and also highlighting the lack of computing facilities required to do the research and development and the AI adoption that's required in all of these countries. And you can see also regarding AI startups that Latin America is quite behind the other markets. So basically, when we have to summarize where to work here, there are many areas, but really the public-private and academia dialogue is really relevant, and also this regional and international collaboration. Infrastructure was already mentioned as one of the areas that of main concern. Financing, how to work in innovation and research and development, government, ethics, and talent. It was very interesting to see the conference they're going to have next month at university there. So really many areas to work, many material to understand, and having all these conversations could be the way to really get an ethical and valuable AI for our countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well, Sonia. Appreciate that. Just a few observations. You spoke about countries that banned AI, and I'm wondering, and I saw the few Caribbean countries there.
Yes.
I wasn't aware. How effectively have they banned? I was actually in one of them and tried to access ChatGPT and couldn't. But how are they blocking it at the sort of, how are they giving effect to this ban on AI? There's so many tools out there.
Yes, well, of course, if you enter through a VPN, you get you bypass this process. That's the situation with technology. But I understand there's a requirement for ISPs to block the access to this website, and well, now the application that you have the application of ChatGPT. So this is part of all the discussion, and of course, well, who's going to dominate these new technologies, and which are the ethics that are being included in all these new AI tools that we are starting to use, with many advantages, but also challenges, as I mentioned.
And then the other question I had was the regulation that's in place in the EU. How are they giving effect to this regulation? I assume they will need access to proprietary code, or how do they, without access to code?
There's a very complex process. For one side, it is like the GDPR, that anyone European that uses these tools have to comply. So basically what they want to do is that they extend the application of those rules all over the world. This has been just issued. They're still publishing the latest version. The EU creating an office globally for the whole European Union to control this, and all the companies that have high risk applications, they have to present the algorithms and the ways that they are developing all these applications for the approval. And any important or significant change that they do to these systems, they have to present a new version. And of course, it is not clear if all the companies would send all the information of their systems to this regulatory institution. Is something that's very new, and then even all the people are starting to learn how to do it. And imagine the quantity of information that would be required to do all these controls. So I think it's a good process. It's interesting that being addressed, but I think that many interpretations are still under process to see how this is going to be implemented in real.
Okay, thank you. I have a question online here from Edward Millington with respect to an ISO standard IEC 42001 in relation to AI safe and responsible development, deployment, and use. Do you have any reference to that standard, ISO standard?
I'm not aware of that standard. Interesting.
Okay. All right. So this is the standard, and Edward, I encourage you to share any links with respect to that standard here in the chat with us as well. You're more than welcome to do so. Any other questions in the chat on AI? The other thing we've seen last year, I'll say this, and there are no more questions, or while we wait for a few minutes. We've seen in the past for technologies like even the internet and the dot-com, talk about the dot-com bubble and even blockchain, excitement around NFTs, for it to then drop off. Do you see this happening as well with artificial intelligence? Is this the phase where everyone is excited, there's lots of investment pouring in, everyone wants to be first, but eventually this demand, I think you had a slide where in 5 days ChatGPT reached 1 million users. Is that really
Yes.
just excitement, or is this impacting new opportunity?
I think it's a difference there because I think what we are seeing is really it's a transformative technology, and really it's the main technology of these last years. I think it's like it can be at the level of the internet. Of course, it's still early stages, but I don't think it's a hype really. It's something that has come to stay, and we can see right now all the potential that it has. One thing that's very important is that from our what we know is that around in Latin America, around 20% of the population uses these kind of technologies, but progress is slower than in other markets. So it's important also to try to use this technology that will bring lots of benefits, and know how to use it, because if not, there are many challenges regarding education, for example, all the intellectual property, the culture in each of the countries. There's really this concept of AI sovereignty that we have to work in. So I don't think it's really hype. It's something that has come here to stay, and that the opportunities that it would bring also as a leverage and also equalizer between the different markets. Also, it's very interesting.
Okay, thank you. We'll take one last question here in the room from Mrs. Selby Wilson, and then we will wrap up.
I have some concerns about plagiarism and whether anybody is looking at that and the use of AI. I also have concerns about improving the critical thinking in the use of AI, particularly for academic work and for students. How is that being viewed by the AI community?
Sorry, I cannot listen very well. I don't know.
The question was of plagiarism, and it's concerned about plagiarism. Say, for example, for academic papers, this is generated AI.
Yes, intellectual property. Yes, it's really a big concern. That's part of one of the topics that's been addressed by the European Union regulation. Also, which are the sources that have been used. Also, who's which is the usage that has been done of the different papers, and of course the intellectual property should be regarded, and that's something that has not been treated as it should have been for the moment. So for sure, and in the education, there's a whole new way to teach the pupils how to use this information, because if not, the process is to use it as part of a tool, but of course not to do all the things that are ordered by the teacher. Really. There's some the teacher has also to have tools how to use it, and also understand it's going to be part of our daily work and our daily basis. But you have to know how to use, how to ask the AI, how to be sure that you're using the correct sources. There are many challenges, and all of us have to learn what's the best use of using these high-end technologies that are evolving day by day.
He was also wondering whether the use of AI is adversely impacting critical thinking skills.
Yes. There's something that's also very interesting. I really recommend you follow or listen what Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA presents. Really, it's a very inspirational story that he has. And he says really that the most important, maybe you said before, you should teach the young people how to code, how to use coding. And really, that is not so relevant anymore because you don't need to code. You need to interact with AI in natural language, in any language. Has not only to be in English, can be in any language, but you know how to solve problems. That process of thinking, asking how to interact, how to make the correct questions, how to define what's the AI telling you, and also trying to solve any problems, that would be the capabilities that you need for the future. So you have to prepare the young people to do that. And this critical thinking is really what is required and solving problems. So there's a total change of how education should be addressed, and also ourselves, how to be still relevant in this new context.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a comment here from Tracy Hackshaw and a couple of links. I encourage you to read those. Yes, prompt engineering, but asking the right questions, I guess, requires some critical thinking.
Yes.
Right. There have been concerns with respect to the reliability of these LLMs over time. You know, sometimes they create some fictional, information. The information